Here's another Golden State Warriors joke. Number 6. Game 6, baby. Alright, so I'm going to give you some more jokes this time. This is going to be more terrible, but really funny and really inappropriate. So, check it out. Okay, what do you get if there's a lot of ants inside the peanut butter and the jelly in a nice sandwich? Antoine Jamison. Well, I think you might get it how that's inside. That looks like the peanut butter and sandwich with all those ants in it. That would be so funny if you ate those ants. If that could be a mimosa, the choking steak versus deal with it. Because if you get choked, if you ate some ants inside of the peanut butter and jelly, you'll end up dead and you'll be like, That's more like the choking steak warriors joke ever. But it's funny to me how the ants, they just crawl over you and inside your body and you'll end up dead. You know what I mean? And I know it's worse if you eat peanut butter and jelly in that sandwich because it's called Antoine Jamison. That shit kills you if you eat with ants. That shit is even worse if you're even dead. And that can cause you to commit suicide. So you might get that joke from the fans of the Golden State Warriors. You know what I mean? That would be so freaking funny. But it's a name and it sounds like Antoine Jamison. Go by Antoine Jamison for Antoine Jamison. You know what I mean? I think that this is the funniest joke ever because you might get it in a certain times when you hear all of those perfect guys that have those jokes, you know? Because Antoine Jamison, he's been worse than playing with the Warriors since he didn't play too much very well because he's been developed for years and he didn't go up too well. And I'm sick of that dude because he played by 51 points, very good to beat my team Lakers in the 2000s. That was just really worse. But Kobe Bryant took up really good by 51 points. That was even better than Antoine Jamison. And they took us from losing, well, 4 other of the teams who beat the Warriors and made them to the last place. And that's how the reason why Antoine Jamison is a bitch. That's how it goes. Okay, here's another one. Do you want to hear a joke about the rookie? Joe Baby Carroll. Okay, well, think about the bad pick player who's just been drafted back in the 80s. He's just the worst player ever who doesn't play very good at it. Because they picked the bad draft picks if you got Joe Baby Carroll and the others. But think about how the player is worth by Al Adams. Because Al Adams, he tried to work this thing out, but it doesn't work. Still not the same type of what the other guys do. Because all the best talented player overalls don't play rhythm back in the 80s. But Magic Johnson did when he played hella good with the Lakers. When he played so many good winning championships. But especially for the Cavaliers for like 5 championships with a row with him. 1 championship for the NBA and 4 Summer League championships. You know why? Because LeBron's the king. Think about that. Think about his moments, but back in the from 2 years ago when he took in a 3-1 lead. Remember that. And that's how it goes. Okay, here's another one. Why did the Warriors cannot win 30 or more if they still suck? Because they went to rock bottom. Well, I think you might get that joke so much because, if they went to the rock bottom, well, that's the most of the dynasty jokes that I've ever done for the Warriors because they've been in the last place for years. But seriously, rock bottom is just most like the place that they give so much decent. One of those hippies, they just don't play very well, or so does black people in Oakland because none of them, they're just playing very good. And I hate to say this, that at the rock bottom is the most worst thing they've ever done. And they should have been drafted Antoine Jamison to stay on the Raptors unless they got Vince Carter. Because Vince Carter's the dude who could develop really well for the Warriors, but he's not. You just can't play with it if you're playing at the Raptors. You know what I mean? Makes a lot of sense that you don't care no more, That's how the franchises work, you know, that they just don't get it. And then suddenly, over later, they were like bottom feeders to dynasties. I just don't get it because people just can't get it if the people that are like so disrespectful on the Warriors. You know what I mean? I can get disrespected too because that's the most hatred team of all time. They were like number one in NBA that I just hate. You know what I mean? Others like Boston Celtics, Houston Rockets, 76ers, and the Knicks. You know, those are the teams I hate too. You know, because I barely much understand what kind of the most hatred teams that I hate besides the Warriors, but I don't want to make fun of them. That's just kind of like the so dumber what I heard, and you know, and plus it's midnight, and I have to talk about all those good old stuff for the jokes. You know, I'm still up in energy, so let's see how it goes. Okay, here's another one. What do you get if Michael Jackson has a stepson, and what's his name? Gary St. Jean. Gary St. Jean, he's not a lover, he's just as my stepson, because I'm not the one. It's funny because if Michael Jackson has a stepson, Gary St. Jean, he didn't get it if he would have had a stepson. He wouldn't get it if he would have like Billie Jean's, because Billie Jean and Gary St. Jean, they're both like brothers, but they were like sons as stepsons to Michael Jackson. It's so funny because I didn't get it how did that kid feels, but I would not disrespectful to Michael Jackson. I would disrespect to that bitch ass manager Gary St. Jean, because I don't care about his thoughts. I don't care about his draft picks and the players that have been grabbing them. I don't care. But at the same type of what he just did, he's just the only the relative who relates to Billie Jean that he sings that the song up to number one when Thriller one became successful with Michael Jackson. But it's so funny when you all of these people can make fun of the Gary St. Jean because he thinks he was related to Michael Jackson's stepson. You know what I mean? It's funny because you wouldn't get that how that feels, but he looks like a gray hair that he just gets grown all over, and he's just being like a real hippie on that shit. Oh, that's funny. Okay, here's another one. What do you call the coffee shop that is in yours? Jason Cafe. It's funny because Jason Cafe was like sounds like coffee, but it's Jason Cafe. It's like the only stuff that you can drink it from some place at the one of the coffee shop, because you know that is a coffee shop if you get it at the Jason Cafe. You know, it's more better than Starbucks. That's where all those hippies might buy more than Starbucks, because Starbucks has the most hippies that can buy them. You know what I mean? Because think about it, Jason Cafe was the only place you can drink them, and they could just stir it up, and he's the only player who gives them words in the 90s, and unless that they had to let the hippies come in and buy that Chokin' Steak Warriors pack to buy Jason Cafe package for $25. It's pretty funny if you might get it, because if you get the whole package what I told you for the last part, it's funny, but you might get it also, so don't miss that part though too. Okay, here's another one. What do you get if your girl fingers and makes bubbles from your vagina? Montego Cummings. It sounds funny because it sounds like Montego Cummings by Montego Cummings. Cummings. Oh my god, that sounds like porno when it sticks to the girl from your vagina when it goes like this. Oh my god, Montego Cummings. You should search that from the Pornhub. That'd be so outrageous but funny. But he's the only dude he played with the Warriors. Much really worse, but I just don't get it. Montego Cummings is just the worst player who makes some nasty stuff to their girls. That whoever's a guy who became a player to all the girls, to finger all those girls' vaginas, to make them a perfect intercourse and the perfect sex type is called Montego Cummings. That's a very good sex style. That's before how women can become pregnant if they go like that. If they go to Montego Cummings like this. Ah! 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 It's funny because you might get this as a joke because everything is just porn jokes about the Golden State Warriors. You know what I mean? Because when you feel about that shit, porn. It's funny. Okay, here's another one. What do you call the French key lock that could use for motorcycles? Monkey blade lock. It's funny because it sounds like Mookie Blaylock, but it's called Monkey Blaylock. But it's funny, but you might get it as a joke because it's Monkey Blaylock. But it's kind of funny to me when you say that because French key lock. I think you don't like to get the joke because a lot of the Token Stake Warriors versus fans who have the motorcycle like this and they have to go. He has the French key lock. That he bought this from Walmart for the starter pack. That with all those keychains they can use for like $15, but it's cheap. But especially you use the Golden State Warriors motorcycle and you'll have to get it and lock it in, and you're trying to use the Monkey blade lock to use all of those keychains to grab it all like this, and then just change it and choke him and like this. You know what I mean? It's hard and plain and simple. You might get it this way in a visual way, but it's just weird, you know? Really weird. Okay, here's another one. What does coffee cups do if they're going to the theaters to see Warriors games? Muggsy Bogus. It sounds like Muggsy Bogus or Might See Bogus. Might See Bogus, Muggsy Bogus. It's funny because it sounds like a coffee cup, like you can get something for the theater, but it's also another Token Stake Warriors pack that you can buy at Walmart. But it's a good deal because you might get it for $10 for the Muggsy Bogus for $10. Get it? But those two players, Monkey Blaylock and Muggsy Bogus, they both are the players that are not even good as Donald Foyle because the Warriors have been in the rock bottom since the early 2000s when Shaq and Kobe are still on the ride back in the days. But don't kill all of the fans because the Token Stake Warriors are just been killing it in the last place because they're just not playing very good with all those two lack of players, and they're just the players. They're just making fun of other than their names who are not even better. You know what I mean? Same thing with Montego Cummings. You know what I mean? Also known as Camus. Montego Cummings. You know what I mean? That's all I can hear. Okay, here's another one. That should be inappropriate, so check it out. Where does Golden State wants to search about the Pornhub? At Terry Cummings. It's funny because if you might get that as a joke, Terry Cummings is just a funnier joke that you can watch it on porn, and you just watch it for what all the Token Stake Warriors fans to try to find the Terry Cummings, and you can see Terry Cummings having sex with himself with his penis, and you just go play him in a circle like this. That's called Terry Cummings. That's how you play with your penis. It goes like this. Oh, God damn it! But it's funny to me how that Terry Cummings was the only guy who portrayed himself as a player, but not a really good role player. But he plays it in a team with Letra Sprayerwell, but that fool sucks. He's just a player. He's just giving him words. I don't know how he is, but he's just not a great player who makes no nonsense to become a great player because he's just a dude who never passes the ball because he's a ball hog. And now it's because he just like to play with himself with his dick. That's why he just goes like that, you know? And that's how it goes. Okay, here's another one. How much money you can owe the Golden State fans for a broken ticket? Rayo's $1. It's funny because Rayo's $1, it's like some dude from the player who is a name named Ray O's, but it's funny they used the last name named O's because it owes like a money, like Ray owes money, like Ray owes $5, Ray owes $10.